everybody. Welcome back once again to the Retro Wrestling Re-View USWA podcast. I'm your host, Gene Jackson, coming to you as always from the Retro Wrestling Archive here in beautiful Gadsden, Alabama, along with producer Smokey behind the scenes, making it happen. And now join me in welcoming my co-host. First up, it's Josh Briley from P3 Radio. Josh, what's up, man?
Man, just chilling on this Sunday morning. How about you, Gene? Any late night ventures, or you home last night?
Man, I was home. I've been sick for 3 or 4 days, coughing my head off. Felt like garbage. It's been cloudy and rainy and shitty here for the last several days. And this morning, the sun's out. It's a pretty nice day out there. We got a pretty fun episode of USWA to talk about this morning.
Yeah, man. This was fun watching back. It was really good.
Yes, it was. So if we can get into that, let's bring on our other co-host. He's the owner, founder, and president of stspod.club, and he's currently Jonesboro, Arkansas's favorite resident. Spoiler alert, it's Brian Tramel. BT, what's up, man?
Hey, my best friend Gene and my favorite co-host of P3 Radio, Josh. I'm over here getting buck, brought to you by Jolly Royal Furniture. Open a new account, or reopen an old one. It's at 122 South Main Street there in Memphis, Tennessee. And I'm going to borrow something for Barry. I can't even tell you that. Barry. I'm going to borrow it.
By an hour. I'll keep it by an hour.
About our from Dangerous Conversation. It's just the cornbread in me. I'm just going to say that, Gene. And I got some feedback from last week's hot mics. I would like to tell everybody that those stories allegedly happened. Okay, I just want everybody to know that allegedly happened. And I've got a couple of stories today, and I promise to keep them PG-13. So there we go about some of my other crazy friends. But yeah, I'm ready for this show. This was a fun show. Let's go. I'm ready.
Feedback's a creative word for subpoena, BT, but we'll go with that.
All right. That or
All right.
why the fuck did you tell that story about that was?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and go on record and say allegedly didn't shit. Mine for real did happen. So
Yeah. What a week on hot mics last week. We topped ourselves, or someone did anyway. But
Chat GBT wouldn't give a description. It was
no, dude. I put, so I mentioned this on chat. I don't know if I've mentioned it on this show, but I mentioned on there that I have such an awful time coming up with the descriptions for these shows because my memory sucks. Like, I'm bad to click on a separate window on my computer and spend 5 minutes trying to figure out what I was going to do. Like, why did I click on this? What was I doing? So I can't. Once we get done with these shows, I can't remember what the hell we talked about. So I take a transcript of it, put it in Chat GBT, and it spits out a description. Well, when I put in last week's show's transcript, it come back and told me that it could not describe that show, that it goes against their standards and practices or whatever. And I had to. It took me an hour to get it to do a dumbed down version of it. So, yeah, that was something special. But yeah, back quickly to that reference that BT made. If you're listening to this, if you hadn't listened to the most recent episode of Dangerous Conversations, if you can message us in the comments and tell us who you think made that statement between myself, Doug Gilbert, and Tommy Rich, who was the one that said it's just the cornbread in me. You probably won't win a prize because there'll be too many people that can get it. But fun show. This episode was something else. If you like Tommy Rich, if you like hearing Tommy Rich get on a rant, well, this is the episode for you. Check it out.
That is a show for you right there.
54. But anyway, right now we're going back to June 22nd, 1991. Dave Brown and Michael St. John are in the house. No Corey Macklin, unfortunately. This would have been a good one to have him around for, I feel like. But, man, I got excited watching this episode. They tell us right out of the gate that on this show, today, on television, live in the studio, Jerry the King Lawler will be taking on flamboyant Eric Embry. And, man, I was like, holy cow, that's going to be a huge match for in the studio. The tag team action, Nightmare Danny Davis and Rob Zakowski, the future Rob Van Dam. And it seemed like to me they actually were saying, even though the graphics didn't jive with it, Was it me or was Dave and them not actually saying Chris Candido for the first time since he's been there?
I didn't notice.
Yeah.
The screen still said Candino, but I'm pretty sure they were saying Candido. But who's to say? And his partner is going to be Dong Chow Mang, or however you say that.
Ching chong
Judge,
chong.
Judge Dredd and Sabu, aka Sabu, going to be in action. Good Lord, we're going to. I'm going to put a description of this one in. Loaded main event.
Remind me to tell you on what my mom said this morning on Patreon. So there you go.
All right, there you go. Main event's going to be Superstar Bill Dundee and the Dirty White Boy, Tony Anthony, taking on Dr. Tom Pritchard and Mr. Charisma himself, Carl Styles. They can't all be winners, folks. We got to bring it down just a little bit. But right out of the gate, we're going to get a recap. So, of course, we talked about it at the end of the show last week. But last week at the Pipkins building, as BT says.
Pipkins, yeah.
Main event's Jerry the King Lawler versus Leatherface. And if Lawler could defeat Leatherface, he'd get 3 minutes in the ring alone with Eric Embry. Let's take a look at a short clip here and see how that unfolded.
Rip his face apart, man. Rip it, rip it. Come on, King. Where's your guts, King? Hey, the King's tough, ain't he? Is this your King? Is that your King, Eddie Marlin? He ain't nothing, man. Rip his face apart, man.
Going up to the top rope, comes down hard with a splash on the King, takes the chair out, just nailed Lawler right across the back with it. Look out as Leatherface going to work with the metal chair, shoves referee Frank Morrell down, just slams it again across the back of the King. Referee Frank Morelli trying to get the chair away from Leatherface. Leatherface back to Morrell into the turnbuckle. Lawler up, takes the chair away. Leatherface across the top of the head, has him staggering. Lawler rolls him up. 1, 2, 3. Start the clock. The match has begun. Eric Embry has yelled for the clock to start. The match has begun. Embry picks Lawler up for the pile driver. In the 3 minutes that Lawler gets with Embry, Embry just DDTs Lawler. Get him up for a possible pile driver. Embry sets him up, pile drives the King for a second time. In the midsection. 30 seconds. Lawler fires back on Embry. Right and left. Lawler sets him up, goes down low. Lawler has Embry locked in and wailing. That's the end of the 3 minutes. The 3 minutes has expired. The 3-minute time limit has expired.
All right, so a lot to talk about there. First of all, Leatherface. I mean, he's got the weird spastic movements down of the Leatherface from the movie. Kudos. This dude climbed to the top rope in actual cowboy boots, not with a crate sole, the heel, managed to climb the top rope and superfly Snuka off as Leatherface onto Lawler, which was impressive. The way he sold that chair shot was
Yes.
tremendous. My understanding is, from all accounts I've heard, at this point, this Leatherface is Dennis Knight, Tex Salinger, if you will. But at some point in this process, by the time he gets unmasked on down the road from here, it's not Dennis Knight. We'll wait and say who it is when we get there. But anyway, that was a lot better than I was expecting. And then, man, they played that 3 minutes perfect. Because most fans in their head think, well, if Lawler beats Leatherface, it's just going to be 3 solid minutes of Lawler just beating the shit out of Eric Embry. Embry cuts him off. He's hitting him with chains and pile driving him, everything. And in the last 30 seconds, Lawler starts to make a comeback. And Eddie Marlin, I didn't have it in the clip, but then after Eric runs off because the time's up, Eddie Marlin comes out, star of the show, sending everybody home happy and let them know that this morning on TV, Lawler's going to be wrestling Eric Embry live in the studio. What do you guys think about this?
It was amazing. Like, it had everything. It had the horror at first, because I'm telling you, I remember seeing this, and this was like the first glimpse of the real Leatherface, so to speak, coming out, and it's dark at the Pipkin building, and all you see is the shadow, you know what I mean? And the chainsaw's super loud. He comes in, he's aggressive as shit. Embry was killing me on the mic. Rip his face apart, man! Rip it! Like, it gave me flashbacks of old like 2000 indie promotions where they have the announcer on the PA, like doing the over Corey Macklin type commentary. And you know, like you said, Leatherface was perfect. He was aggressive but buffoonish at times, just like in the movie. It was like he made this motherfucker watch the movie and then mimic it that way. But yeah, that 30 seconds to go after the 3 minutes was over, that was perfect. That was perfect, because you see the finish line. That son of a bitch, he's going to get it now. The pile driver, everything's set up. And right there, as the pile driver's fixing to happen, Embry fucking snake ass slithers out the... God, it was perfect.
I agree with Josh. I put loved Embry on the commentary. Tex did a fantastic job. Crowd was fucking crazy. That 1,000 people was nuts. Loved it. This was and I don't. Did you play the promo? Lawler put him over. You know, he shit on him last week, but then I guess in my mind, Lawler heard our podcast last week, and so he came back and said, well, I shouldn't have said that because this guy was tough. And but man, I'm with Josh. It couldn't have been any better. It was perfect. It was perfect. Leatherface. Great job with what they did, and that crowd. Yeah, look at this. That fucking crowd loved it. They were eating it, just going crazy for this guy. And you know, he started with that chainsaw, and that crowd probably thought they was going to see Lawler's head get chopped off. Look, yeah, Lawler put him over. He was fully decked out in his baby blue. I don't like the baby blue,
but dude, that was perfect. You're talking about the crowd. I gotta mention, as you're talking about it, when initially Leatherface comes out of the corner and he grabs Lawler by the face, and Embry starts with, "Did you hear the female shriek?" It was so fucking audible. Like, I love that. That's so old school, man. It adds to the feel for sure.
To me, like, for the first time in what feels like a while, they delivered on what they promised, but still left you wanting more. You know what I mean? The way this was executed, you got Leatherface was probably more than anybody expected. It wasn't just the cheesy, Halloween store mask that we've seen in the past on some of these. This
really
dude
well.
looked like the Leatherface from the movie, and he acted like the Leatherface from the movie. And they got the Lawler win. They got the 3 minutes with Embry, but they didn't get what they wanted out of it. But they got just enough at the end where they didn't go home mad. Man, this was so well executed, and it's going to be interesting to see how they continue this from here. All I could think as Embry was screaming into the microphone. It was during that stage in Jericho's career where he was always going, man, when he was drink it in, man. I'm like, was that an Eric Embry impression that whole time? Because that's what it feels like. Because he was throwing that in after everything.
And that's one of my pet. I hate that. That's one of my pet peeves when I go to these indie shows. Is you got two commentators commentating over the crowd on a speaker. I hate that. I absolutely hate it. But with that, it meant something because he was giving direction to Leatherface, and we knew what was going to happen because we all knew Lawler was going to win and he was going to get Embry. But it didn't turn out the way Lawler wanted it to. So, I mean, they're building this. They're building Lawler against in. And what happens next on TV, we're still building it. So
I was kind of scared too. I'm not going to lie, because I could not remember how they got out of this first match. And I'm thinking they're going to go out there and just kill him, just kill Leatherface and shit all over it. But yeah, it ended perfect because anybody logically, well, he knocked him on top of his fucking head with a chair, and he was
right.
stunned.
3 seconds,
Because as soon as the pin's over, he's back up being aggressive again. So didn't just beat him into dust either.
Loved it.
Yeah, it was like I said. I don't know that they could have done that any better. That whole, pardon me. Maybe a lot of editing in this show, folks, from me stopping to cough. But anyway, so now we're ready for the match. Lawler's in the ring. He's ready to go. And then out through the curtain, we've got, now he's fully in it. Tojo has got his cowboy hat. He's got his Texas flag. He's ready. But the person who's not ready is the man coming behind him on crutches. Eric Embry lets us know that he has severely sprained his ankle. Sprained it so bad, the doctors told him he'd have been better off if he broke it. He wanted us to know that because he said it several times. But he sprained his ankle getting away from Lawler the other night, and so there's not going to be a match. But Dr. Tom Pritchard has been kind enough to offer to wrestle Lawler. Lawler gets down out of the ring, comes over there and says, I don't want to wrestle Tom Pritchard. I want to wrestle you coward, and tries to goad Embry into getting in the ring. Finally, Dr. Tom gets into the ring. Lawler's like, all right. He turns around to leave to go wrestle Dr. Tom. And who could have guessed it? Who would have ever imagined? Embry hits him with the crutch, ends up breaking the crutch across Lawler, attacks Lawler from behind, tosses him in the ring. And, there's a little bit of a beatdown on Lawler until Lawler gets enough, pulls a strap down, and the chase is on. He's chased like Lawler chases Embry all around the ring, through the ring, around the ringside, across the studio. And I'll let y'all describe it because I'm about to have a coughing attack.
Bless this man. Bless him. He's going to choke to death, baby. Well, yeah, it was just like we've talked about. It was almost Benny Hillish in a way. But it was perfect because Eric Embry is severely trying to get this coward piece of, just chicken shit heel thing going. And this is perfect. It's him backstabbing son of a bitch, breaks the crutch right over his back, and then I got to chase you.
We didn't get to see it neither, Josh, did we? I didn't see the crutch. Did I turn away at the wrong time? I don't think the camera got it.
It got the last crutch. I think it broke the first one with the initial hit, and then it finally panned around, and he had just hit Lawler again.
But this is what we love, me and you love about, and Gene too, love about Eric Embry, is that chicken shit heel, and he is playing it to the max. We talked about it a little bit before we got started. We know what this is leading to. If you're a wrestling fan, you pretty much know it might not be this week, it might not be next week, but we do know what the match will end up being. But he is playing the part perfect, just perfect.
Absolutely. And I like that we've introduced Leatherface into this to have this big monster that they can call upon where it's not just Embry and Pritchard and some tag team. But Leatherface isn't here today. I guess he's back in Texas.
Killing people.
Yeah, he had to go catch up on killing a few folks. But Lawler ends up, he technically gets the win, but he's not satisfied. And we ain't heard the last of this. Lawler wins by a count out. if you haven't seen it yet, you can go to our Facebook page or the YouTube channel. We've got a fun little video with the Benny Hill music in the background of these guys chasing, because they did it 3 different times on this show and then once on last week's show. And so I wanted to include it in the show, but WrestleCopia always gets a little upset whenever we put in licensed music. They get a little warning, so I didn't want to put it in here and get that email. So you can find it over on Facebook or YouTube. It's pretty funny. It's a minute and a half. You really start to realize how much time Lawler has spent chasing Embry. It's literally a whole minute and a half, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's 2 dudes running around a studio, it's quite a bit, actually. So it's pretty fun. Check it out. Opening, or not the opening match, because I guess technically that was the opening match for what it was, but the next match on the show, Uncle Danny, Nightmare Danny Davis, and Rob Zakowski. Again, these guys hadn't been able to say Chris Candido. They said Chris Candino. They can't say Sabu. They say Samu, although I'm pretty sure Jarrett called him Sabu in their promo. Rob Zakowski taking on Chris Candido and Dong Chow Mang. I don't know how we come about that name. But,
I have no idea. I want to point out something on him.
I'm sorry. I see Robert Fuller in the back. Get it? Dick Noodle.
Get it?
in later
Dick
years,
Noodle.
when we started combining people's names for tag team names, in 91, this would have been Dong Dito, by the way. So
There you go. There you go. Love it. He was wearing, I told y'all last week he's in New Japan. He had started as 19 years old. He came over here to get some extra training, but he's actually wearing what young boys wear. You wear a black tights and black trunks and black boots. It just total nothing, no gimmick whatsoever when you're a young boy. And I'm surprised he didn't pull out the Boston Crab, because it's the finisher of every young boy wrestling. He gets to put people in Boston Crab. But I thought it was funny because I thought they looked good against each other when they had Rob Van Dam and Van Dong. I put Van Dong and Van Dam against each other. I thought that was fun stuff. But yeah.
there's one screenshot there of a pretty rough-looking kick that Van Dam hit Van Dong with, if you will. But, Uncle Danny's pretty ripped here. He's ready to go.
Boy, he's got some mass going on.
Yeah, he's starting to look like Steam.
He's got a special training regiment.
Well, he gained some extra pounds on the off season, like those football players do.
He was taking his vitamins, brother.
That's right,
But,
brother. He had a prescription.
Straight from Dr. Zahorian. But anyway, fun tag team match here. And also, I was thinking as you were saying this, for our listeners that are just Memphis fans who may be uninitiated, tell everybody what a young boy is, or you're not just describing that he's a youthful.
Oh, young
male.
boy is guys that started in the dojo, the New Japan dojo. They usually train for X amount of time, but they also do a lot of other things too. They clean all the toilets, all the showers. They live in the dojo. They sleep on these, I call it a pallet, but it's just this cover, just real thin cover, and then they put a cover over them. They live in the dojo as they're training. When they get to wrestle in front of a crowd, they do not have gimmicks yet. None of them have a gimmick, so they all have to go out with the same gear. And a lot of times they wrestle in the first match against each other. And what they're doing, which is so smart, they just had a young boy that I was watching win the title.
Get that soundbite.
This past week. But he's not a young boy anymore. What they do, they go to the United States, they go to Mexico, and when they come back, they have a gimmick. So until they leave and go to another country and come back, all the young boys wear black. It's a different culture and everything, but that's exactly what the young boys do. They carry the bags. They do all this. They'll stand around the ring, helping people and stuff like that. They won't interfere or nothing. They can't interfere if they're young boys. So
I just thought it'd be good if you could explain the difference between the New Japan young boy system and the Burt Prentice Nashville young boy
in
system.
the WWE young boy.
Yeah. A little different there. I'm surprised Burt never made his way over to Japan just to
Just
study
for
a few
them
of the
young boys. Woo.
Yeah.
We had a story
Anyway.
one time with Burt and a young boy on my website. Y'all search Matt and Burt Prentice, and y'all will get a hell of a story.
Matt and Bert.
Search both of those, and it was written by Trent Van Drizzle. Drizzle. Drizzy.
Oh, the famous Mid-Southern Wrestling Board.
Yeah, he wrote an article that got me major heat from Burt. Although I still was in Burt's book, by the way. I don't know if I ever told y'all that, but I was.
Get that book while it's still available. You can read all about BT and his exploits with Burt
young boys.
Prentice
Yeah.
And Burt and young
Oh,
boys.
God.
Winner of that match was Uncle Danny and Rob Van Zukowski, and we'll see if that continues to be a team or if that's just a one-off here. But Uncle Danny goes on back to the dressing room.
I'm sorry. I got to cut y'all. I thought I had an internet glitch at the end of this match, and
I meant to mention that.
Oh yeah, me
for
too.
real, it did not have the finisher. It was like somebody was trying to protect old school wrestling and not show. I assume it was the split-legged bounce off the rope moonsault from Van Dam, but yeah, you didn't see it, but the crowd was fucking crazy about it. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't and I rewound it, and sure enough, nope, somebody like edited it.
It was cut out for some reason. It was very.
It
weird,
might have been a bad spot in the. Might have just been a bad spot on TV or something. Yeah.
But it wasn't like it didn't like get snowy or glitch. It was just like it just wasn't there. It's just like it's going for it and then it's done. So it's very weird. But yeah, good point there. Uncle Danny heads back to the locker room while Dave calls Rob Zukowski over and has a word with him. And boy, he the only person with less charisma than Dong is Rob in 1991. Good Lord. But Eric Embry comes out to try to recruit him, says that him and Dr. Tom can teach him how to be mean and take him right to the top. And Zukowski, with the most personality he's exhibited yet, tells him, I wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. And can't say I blame him. Eric Embry attacked him for that comment and starts to beat down on him. And here comes Lawler again, and they're chasing each other around the studio like Wee Man and the fat guy that used to chase him on Jackass all the time. So we get another chase around the studio. Lawler clears him out. Then he comes over and he helps young Zukowski back out of there after his attack by Eric Embry. But I don't know, man. It seemed kind of stiff. Like these guys had no interaction. He jumps right to, I wouldn't spit on you if you were on fire. It seemed kind of unnecessary.
Well, Eric Embry has that type of that vibe with people. I mean, maybe Rob had watched. Look at those sweatpants, by the way.
that's an interesting look there.
I wanted to point out as well. We've said millions of times it's the little things with Eric Embry. And, he was out there on crutches talking about an ankle injury with Lawler, right? He had the pumps, the Reebok pumps on that have major ankle support, if you remember, if you ever had them. So, yeah, the little things.
Oh, wow. I would have known that. Well, I couldn't get those pumps. I was too poor, so.
This is a weird segment.
I love it. Fightful was so over with me as a kid. An American Tail, I wore that motherfucking tape out as a child.
Skipped over that a minute ago. I forgot to mention that there's this odd spot where they advertise for. This is our friend Feifel here on the desk with us.
I was wanting somebody to pile drive him or something.
No.
Oh, if I would have won him, I definitely would have.
Be the one person Eric Embry got the better of.
Oh yeah, Josh would have. By the way, we didn't mention this. I wanted to mention this during the Lawler Embry where they was chasing around everything. Dave Brown will not say the R word, and he gets upset all the time. But he said Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that, but don't say any of that other stuff. So. Don't say the M word
in wrestling commentary. Gorilla Monsoon loved that one, and even Dave pulled it out there. But yeah, they talk about. We'll talk about the actual card later. But this is the Super Summer Spectacular. They're going to be giving away a Memphis Queen boat trip. We're going to have gift certificates to the Spaghetti Warehouse.
Woo! I love
Big
Spaghetti
Five-O
Warehouse.
doll. Free parking, 8 p.m. bell time. Going to be a Southern Heavyweight title round robin tournament we're going to talk about a little bit later on. And next up, just out of the blue, this hasn't been mentioned in years at this point, I guess. I don't know how long it's been. Suddenly, we're all of a sudden interested in the top 10 contenders list. We didn't get this all through 93. We hadn't gotten any of this in the first nearly 7 months of 91. But Bill Dundee comes out, and they run through the list. We'll mention it here. Top 10 USWA. Number 10, Danny Davis. Number 9, Carl Stiles. Number 8, the Dirty White Boy. Number 7, Tagar, even though he at this point had no wins to his name other than the one he got over the jobber last week. Number 6, Robert Fuller. Number 5, Bill Dundee. Number 4, Dr. Tom. Number 3, Jeff Jarrett. Number 2, Eddie Gilbert. And number 1 contender to the unified title, the Southern Heavyweight Champion, Eric Embry. Dundee goes on to have the same promo he's been having, just the same way Lawler and Jarrett.
3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I keep saying the same thing. He keeps talking about his recent slump that was caused by being worried about Jamie Dundee, but Jamie's back home now, so he's focused again. He's going to win this round-robin tournament and earn a title shot. And his promo, even though it's a round-robin, seems to be very firmly directed at Eddie Gilbert, basically assuming that he's going to win his match and Eddie's going to win his match, and that's who he's going to be facing in the second round of this. What'd you think about this Bill Dundee promo, which, like I said, other than the new added wrinkle of the tournament, was pretty much what we've been hearing week after week?
Look at that.
I could not concentrate on the subject matter of this promo because I was so just hypnotized by this fucking jacket.
And that jacket, yes.
He come out there and I look at my wife. She don't know shit about nothing about wrestling. And I'm like, this motherfucker looks like a cross between a Native American and that Masawa with the green and the white.
Right. Yeah. Masawa. Yeah.
And it was fringe, and it was like almost like a Bret Hart jacket up front. But like, yeah, he spent some money. He thought he was the shit, dude. But I love it. Like, I was just, wow. It was kind of out of place though, right? Because the rest of his outfit had nothing green or white on it. It was just
Josh,
teal.
did your grandmother make things like this, or did she just do the tights and stuff?
Usually just the tights. And I think she made some kind of jacket for Eddie at one point, but I don't know if he wore it a lot or whatever, but I specifically remember her making one, but usually it was just tights and mask and shit.
I know they always had that, I learned that from you about your grandma making that. Then we always had, and y'all can tell me who it was, the guy that made the Bill Ash, is that right? Who made the
boots?
Yeah. And then you had people that made different people made jackets, but I never knew who made the jackets.
I kept thinking watching this, if you turn that green red and put a dirty mustache on him, this would be Eddie Guerrero in 1996.
Yes.
It was. Yes.
Next match, we got Judge Dredd and Samu taking on Ken Raper and Brian Collins. I don't know, man. Judge Dredd just doesn't quite seem ready for prime time yet, but Sabu is able to do enough high-flying maneuvers. And
he's a Samoan, too, by the way. Did y'all hear that?
Yes!
What the fuck? Bad enough we're taking the Samoan Samu's name. Now we're calling him Samoan? He's wearing a turban to the ring?
I got to tell y'all something. I hate to throw myself under the bus, but here is what I wrote. Samu, ? Salmon, not Samoan, but a Salmon judger went against, this is the worst mistake, Brian Collins. Brian's my fucking name, and I can't spell it right. Brian Collins and Ken Raper. And I laughed because they said Judge and Samu were undefeated, and they lost last week. What the fuck? And does anyone look at the results or anything? I guess they didn't back then.
Yeah, because they wrestled for the tag titles last week.
And lost. Yeah.
And lost. Clearly they lost because we're going to see Jeff and Fuller with the belts in a moment. But yeah, they're undefeated. So
And had Tagar won any matches whatsoever,
No,
he said
he's
he
only-
was
Well,
doing
that one
really
guy, the one guy in the studio where
the
he
Joker
probably
last
almost
week.
caught the shit on fire in the roof.
That was
and
the only. Yeah.
He gave him the brain claw.
Yep.
I guess they just decided, like, yeah, we'll just say whatever we want. What are they going to do? You know, I mean, there's no internet for them to go post, you know.
That's
Nowadays, if they make a
Unless,
mistake, somebody can go at WWE and tweet them. But, I mean,
Do we know that there was a pin in the tag team match and it didn't just end in a no contest?
we don't, because
No.
these fucking results, I mean, some of these results are completely wrong, where the right person is even listed as winning, and sometimes they're listed as pins when it was DQs and all kinds of shit. I can go check 3 different sites for last Monday night's card and get 3 different sets of, like, what happened, and some of them have the wrong matches listed, but usually Meltzer's is pretty accurate because it's directly from somebody who was there. So that's why I've kind of defaulted to letting Brian tell us that, and then you can also check like Cage Match and Wrestling Data and all those sorts of things, but it's up and down on whether those are right or not most of the time. But I remember last week, I don't know if we've even made real mention of it, but you know, last week Judge Dredd and Samu did a promo where Judge Dredd had his back to the camera the entire time. It was crazy. So now we're going to have another promo from Jeff and Robert Fuller. They're still at the Sportatorium as they were last week. If I had to guess, this was probably shot immediately. They rolled the little girl in the wheelchair out of the frame and then picked right back up where they left off.
He grabbed her by the neck and moved her out of the frame.
All I could think about was Naked Gun with O.J. Simpson in a wheelchair. That's all I could think about.
That's all it worked. She stood up, walked off. They talked.
Hell yeah, that's all it worked.
And so, you know, we get another promo. So here's what I don't understand, and this kind of goes along with everything else we were just pointing out. So these guys put a self-imposed rule on their matches weeks ago, where if we ever lose, we'll break up. Now this whole promo is that someone is conspiring to break their team up because they've been put in a match where if they lose, they have to split.
They did it.
They had already imposed that on themselves. I mean, Samu should hope that they lose so he can be split from this freaking Judge Dredd rather than later, even though he is able to jump off his shoulders, and that is a pretty cool finish, even though he's going to kill himself in that studio. You can barely clear people off the top rope, much less standing on somebody else's shoulders. But anyway, we used to fight each other. If we lose, we're going to have to split. I hit the son bitch in the head with a beer bottle. Yeah. I'm hung like a mule. All the same stuff he talks about every week. We'll see what happens, but I certainly didn't clip this one because there wasn't anything outstanding about it at all. Eric Embry comes out, and let's take a look at this promo as things almost take a hard turn here, as it looks like Eric Embry is fired.
Dave, he wants you. You know, we've seen enough of you.
What's Jarrett and Fuller talking about, man? They're talking about split the team. They're talking about surprises. Man, there's no disqualification. And you know what's going to happen? Jarrett and Fuller ain't never, ever going to tag again. You wonder who's behind it all? Well, man, it ain't me. Because if it was me, they wouldn't even be together right now. You know what I'm saying, man? You don't like me being out here?
I don't like you being out here. You've been out here enough already.
Nothing you can do about it, man.
Well, I tell you what I'll do. Let me tell you, you just take it on out of here.
I'll do whatever I want to do, man. Plain and simple. Now, what?
You heard Dave Brown. He said he didn't like for you to be out here.
I'll do what I want to do, man.
And no, you don't do. This is not Texas. You're not.
Well, who the hell you think you are?
Hey,
I'm the promoter here, and I'm running this, and Dave Brown knows that.
Has Eric Embry lost his mind? Going after promoter Eddie Marlin? Holy cow, Dave, what is with Eric Embry? Are you absolutely crazy?
You put him. You okay? Lawler got a hand on him there. There they are in the ring. Lawler after Eric Embry. And well, that's one way to get rid of Eric Embry.
No, the only way to get rid of Eric Embry, I'm fed up with Texas. I'm fed up with Eric Embry. And after what he did today, he put his hands on me and Michael St. John. As of right now, Eric Embry is fired. He's no longer with you.
I agree with you. Get rid of him. Get him out of here. We don't want him around here anymore.
You see what he did to me? You see what he did to Michael? He's through. He had enough of him in Texas. He's
out of here.
So I don't, and then in other words, you fire him. I don't get a match with him.
Lawler, he's come out here for months and interfered in every match, and I've had it up to here.
Hey, Eddie, I know that. I realize that. Everybody's had it up here with Eric Embry. Everybody out here hates Eric Embry as much as you do, but not as much as I do. Nobody wants to see him out of here any worse than me. But don't let him get out of here without somebody getting to whip his big, fat, obnoxious, low-life rear end. And believe me, if you fire him, then that just takes that chance right out of my hands. I got the match signed, I got what I want, and I promise you, I'll make you this promise. You let me have him just one time, then I don't care what you do with him, because there won't be nothing left of him to fire. I promise you that. I'll take care of it. One time, once and for all.
Let me tell you one thing. I said I was fed up to here with him, and I am. I'll turn him over to you. You want him, you have him, you better control him.
I ain't going to control him. I don't want to control him. All I want to do is get that one match with him, Eddie. And I promise you, I'll beat him so bad, he'll leave here on his own. You won't have to worry about firing him. Just let me have the one match with him.
Find out then, Dave. You got it. You got it.
All right. Well, I'm not.
Well, there you go. Embry comes out, gets cross with Eddie Marlin, punches Eddie Marlin. He's nice enough, if you pay attention, to pull Eddie Marlin's glasses off his face and set him over by the desk before they continue their scuffle. Stands up, picks Michael St. John up by his armpits and holds him up in the air. Dave gets a little mad. Dave's like, hey, motherfucker. Throws his mic down, comes over there. Doesn't get in between them. When Embry turns towards him, he backs up pretty quick. But he got pretty heated about it. Eddie Marlin has had enough of him, and he fires him. Like, well, if this was an option, why didn't you do this weeks ago? Why are we just now firing this guy? But, of course, Jerry Lawler, being co-owner of the company, realizes, hey, you just fired one half the main event this Monday night. Can't have that. Let me have my chance at him, Eddie, when I get done with him, blah, 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 blah. And so Eddie Marlin quickly backs down. Eric Embry's no longer fired. He's going to let Jerry Lawler take care of him this Monday night at the Pipkins building. And another chase ensues, of course, before they get to that point. What did you guys think of this segment? A lot of Eric Embry on this show.
Yeah, but dude, it's adding fuel to the already blazing ass fire that they got going, because like I keep saying this over and over, Eric Embry is a master, and I mean Lawler as well, and it takes two to make this shit work. But they're playing it so good. I mean, like the simple shit where they roll around in the ring and Lawler's almost got him, and Lawler Eric Embry's halfway out of the ring, and Lawler will just grab the strap on Embry, and just kind of hold on to it a little bit and then let it go. Like just little shit like, oh, almost got him, almost, it's great. It invokes this feeling. It's a lot better than watching Jeff Gaylord beat the dog piss out of somebody. It's substance. It's good shit.
Oh yeah, I liked it too. I love Eddie Marlin getting involved, and then I love the punch. I love the idea of him firing him, and Lawler, you fired, and then Lawler looks at him like, what the fuck? You wasn't supposed to do that. That's what it looked like. Lawler was saying, wait. But yeah. But, they said only one more match. So, Embry only has one more match with Lawler. I just want y'all to know that. Yeah,
this
right.
Look, the track pants over the singlet look, it's heat.
Beautiful.
Right there. I mean, that's how you going to cheer this guy right here. You know what I mean? Like, you want to see this guy get his ass kicked. So, kudos for even just the look that he has right here. So that brings us to our main event, expiration of time match. Superstar Bill Dundee and the Dirty White Boy with the Dirty White Girl taking on Carl Styles and Dr. Tom Pritchard with Miss Texas. And yeah, things are pretty wild here from the get-go. Miss Texas and the Dirty White Girl break out into a brawl. The referee has to throw the match out. No contest for the first fall. And so they knew that's what people wanted to see. So let's just get to it. Let's let the women fight. Now we've got that out of our system. Second fall, women are banned from ringside. We're just going to have a tag team match at this point. A lot of fighting between Dr. Tom and the Dirty White Boy. A lot of switching in and out, double teaming. Eventually, time limit expires, so we don't get a winner in either the first or the second fall of this match. Get a promo from the Dirty White Boy and the Dirty White Girl, promising destruction in their mixed tag team match. We're going to have all four of them in there this week. The Dirty White Boy and Girl against Miss Texas and Dr. Tom. I don't really remember Dirty White Girl doing promos, but boy, some of the lines she said since she's been back are somewhat humorous. Lawler's out, talking shit about Embry. I see something's come to mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, she brought Dusty White Boy with her, so she invokes that out of it for what it's worth. And Dusty White Boy, he wasn't here too much this week, but you could hear it a little bit. Tell me about it, baby. Like
But snort dweem, if you will.
Yeah.
I like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's funny. That first week, I think it was, when she said she was going to put something on Miss Texas that Ajax won't wash off, which usually isn't something a girl wants to promise anybody, but that was interesting. I forget what last week's was, but she had another line that you could tell what specific line was planned. And so, yeah, we've seen a different side of the Dirty White Boy on promos since she showed up. A little bit of Dusty there, so that's fun, to say the least.
And like you said, the cat fight, everybody wanted that.
Yeah.
And I do like, I mean, I know a lot of times like the stupid finish or whatever you want to call it, where it's just, it's over with. Like a lot of times that does piss me off. But for this, because the purpose was the cat fight and get that rolling a little better, and it didn't really do anybody any favors to win, lose. And because, it's not about that at this point.
Right. Yeah, and we had this round robin thing coming up, so we really didn't anybody get pinned here necessarily. So It's fine. Like you said, it served its purpose. Pretty much every segment on this show was driving towards something Monday night, and of course the overarching story from beginning to end is Eric Embry is a cowardly, manipulative psycho who wants to have his hand in everything, but then he runs for the hills as soon as confronted. Like you mentioned earlier, like Eric Embry has become just the most low-down, he's not a cool heel, put it like that. There's nothing about him that should make anybody want to cheer for him, make anybody want to see him win or support him, unless you're just a smart fan who appreciates what he's doing as a heel, because everything about him is completely unlikable, unrespectable, and so should be interesting to see how things play out Monday night. So right now, let's take our podcast commercial break, and then we'll find out exactly what the card is, and then BT will tell us how it all unfolded at the Pipkin building. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, Ray Russell here. Lots of new stuff happening here at WrestleCopia. If you haven't checked out our website at WrestleCopia.com, it's a great way to keep up with the latest episodes of all of your favorite Copia programming, from the Wrestling Memory Grenade to Regional Wrestling with the Territory Talk, the Wrestling Stoop with the legendary Bob Roop, and of course all of those programs also available at your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the Copia world, all the latest news, random thoughts, fun videos, pictures, and more, make sure to join the more than 33,000 followers over at facebook.com/wrestlinggrenade. Don't be left out. And last but definitely not least, it's what keeps the entire machine going. I'm talking about patreon.com/WrestleCopia. We appreciate your support in helping us pay the bills to keep the WrestleCopia podcast network running and enabling us to continue to bring you all the quality programming that we offer.
Tired of the same boring wrestling podcast? Need something with attitude, chaos, and maybe just a little cussing? That's stspod.club, and we got it all covered. We've got wrestling weirdness with WTF News Desk, 5-minute time limit, and the Southern Fried Brain of me, BT, steering the whole ship. We also have rolling into Memphis every week about the current Memphis wrestling. Interviews, hot takes, and wrestling outrageousness so wild it might get you banned in 12 states. That's right, it's sdspod.club or search all podcast catchers for Shooting the Shiznit, where wrestling podcasts grow chest hair. Not sure what that meant. Love my mama.
All right, we appreciate every one of our sponsors that support the show, and right now, let's let Dave and Michael St. John tell us what the card is for this Monday night at the Pipkin Building, June 24th.
Right. Parade of Champions coming up once again as Doug Gilbert and Chris Candido will be going in the opening match of the night. Following that, Rob Zukowski, boy, we just saw him right here, and I must congratulate the young man for not throwing in with a Texas bunch. Eric Embry and all of that got his head on straight. He's already demonstrated his athletic ability. He will be going against one of the Texans, though, and Tex Salinger Monday night at the Pipkin Building. World Light Heavyweight title match. Following that, Danny Davis, as we mentioned, when he was on his way to the ring, he had that belt around his waist. Well, Dong Chao Mang, the Vietnamese kickboxing champion, will be challenging for that World Light Heavyweight title come Monday night.
I'll tell you, Danny Davis is going to have his hands full because Dong Chao Mein, a little unorthodox kickboxing champion. Danny's going to have to be ready for that one.
Round robin tournament coming up then. The winner will get a Southern Heavyweight title match. Winner of match number 1 against the winner of match number 2. We'll have more to say about that. Here we go right here. Match number 1. The superstar, Bill Dundee, going against Carl Stiles. Carl Stiles has been in the USWA for a number of weeks, and if he can defeat Bill Dundee, which I guarantee is not going to be an easy task, he will be in a Southern Heavyweight title match. Then, round-robin match number 2, hot stuff, Eddie Gilbert going against that really wild-looking Tagar, the one with, shoots the fire from the fingertips and all of that sort of thing. Eddie Gilbert against Tagar in round-robin match number 2. Then, following that, it's going to be a mixed man and ladies tag team match. Dirty White Boy and Dirty White Girl in one corner. On the other side, it's going to be Tom Pritchard and Miss Texas, Sweet Georgia Brown. That one should be something to see.
And we'll see the ladies in the ring, actually. They've been fighting in the ring, not legally, but they've been fighting in the ring. And when these two get at each other, goodness knows what's going to happen.
You're right. Mixed man and ladies rules apply in that one. Then, in this next one, it's going to be one of those matches where the loser of the match splits the team. In other words, if Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller do not win, their team is split up. On the other hand, if they can defeat Judge Dredd and Samu, then Judge Dredd and Samu as a team we won't have to worry about anymore. Loser splits the team, Jarrett and Fuller going against Judge Dredd and Samu. Then the big main event of the night, and boy, I can't wait for this one. Embry out here on crutches, claiming to have a hurt ankle, all of that sort of thing, and then blasted Lawler with a crutch around from behind. But come Monday night at the Pipkin Building, in the ring, grudge match of the year, no disqualification, Jerry Lawler against flamboyant Eric Embry. Get ready for that one. That one right there is going to be the match of the week in the world, let me tell you.
I agree with you 100%, Dave. In fact, Eric Embry's liable to end up like this stuffed animal we have on our desk after that's all over with, because Lawler he's going to catch him, and he'll get him Monday night.
Grudge match of the year, the match of the week in the whole world, Eric Embry versus Jerry Lawler. So, guys, having watched the whole show and gone through the card, what was your least favorite part of this week's show?
Dude, that is very, very hard for me to determine because this is an excellent show, top to bottom. I mean, like, even the what I would deem filler stuff was good. And, like I said, the last match, even though there was no decision either way, it served the purpose. So I'm just picking, I'm trying to split hairs here at this point, but it has to be the actual footage of we didn't see the finish. What we assumed to be the split-legged moonsault off the ropes with Zakowski, Van Dam, whatever you want to call him. That would have been awesome to see, but I guess I can look it up somewhere else. But yeah, really, really small piece of gripe, but that's what I got.
I didn't like Lawler being out there during the last part of the show. He was he was doing commentary, but then he was saying stuff that to me, I was like, I'm tired of Lawler already being out here and messing with the heels and stuff. So that was my least favorite part.
Yeah, it was off-putting to me because you've got this serious issue with Lawler and Embry. He's coming back off injury. He should be wanting to, get revenge, get Embry out of here. And it's almost like commentary Lawler, like raw commentary Lawler. Like he's using all this shitty joke book jokes. Like I asked Miss Texas, was that her face or did her neck throw up? And just a bunch of silly ass.
It was
shit
stupid.
Like
Yeah.
What's with all the corny jokes this week? He did several of those throughout the show, and especially in this last segment. So I totally get what you're saying there. For me, I guess if I'm on a nitpick, it's going to be a combination of that and just the repetitiveness of like Dundee and the Jarrett and Fuller promos. It's like, all right, come up with something else to talk about, or just don't do a promo because goddamn, we know you were losing because Jamie's back, and now you got to worry about that, and somebody trying to split the team. It's like, okay, we get it. What was your most favorite part of this week's show?
All of the Eric Embry and Lawler segments where it's the chase, Eric just being such a coward, such a fucking chicken shit. And those type of people, like in real life, piss you off so bad. And it's such good shit that because before, like we've said, Eric Embry was a very aggressive, I'll beat everybody up on the show. You remember him and Tom were out there almost every fucking match, some shows, just beating the shit out of everybody. And we've seen this reversal, but that's how good Eric is. He can be whatever you want him to be and be convincing at it. I love it.
My favorite part, it was probably the first, 15, 20 minutes of the show. Lawler coming out, putting Leatherface over, and those clips of Lawler against Leatherface. I absolutely love that stuff. And with the crowd being so crazy, I love crowds like that. I always loved to perform, even though if they were small, if they were just noisy, it was just so fun to be around.
Yeah, as strange as it sounds, that's my favorite part of the show was the clips from last Monday night, because I just didn't really have that high hopes for the Leatherface match. Like, I've seen those monster gimmicks done so poorly in the past. I forgot how well this came off, especially in that very first incarnation like that. But man, that was fun to watch. Just, listening to Embry over the house mic, cheering him on. And like I said, I didn't expect him to climb to the top rope in cowboy boots and come off of that splash. And the way he sold that chair shot, slumping over, he didn't just no-sell it, but he didn't just fall out like every other guy. He slumps over, takes a couple steps forward, and Lawler hits that perfect roll-up, 1, 2, 3. And then, like I say, the 3-minute gimmick with Embry was well played. So I loved all that. So with all that said, would you guys buy a ticket this week for the card on Monday night?
Absolutely. I got to see how it ends.
I'm the same way. We finally get they're promising us Lawler against, they didn't say it when they're showing the matches, but it's not the last. Eddie Marlin said it's going to be the last match, and then he's firing him, so I got to be down there.
Absolutely. Well, before we pitch to BT to tell us what happened, I just want to point out, like, we've been putting up some clips from the show over on the YouTube, around the Facebook page. And holy cow, some of these videos, man, like the Lawler versus Embry Benny Hill thing, like I just talked about. This went up Friday evening. This is Sunday morning. This had almost 14,000 views.
Oh, wow.
The clip of Pez Watley showing up last week, 15,300 views. Embry's Leatherface promo, where he's describing Leatherface as if he was the actual character from the movie, over 12,000 views. The debut of Dirty White Girl, where she runs out, hurls Miss Texas over the announce desk, 20,000 views. So thank you to everybody who's going over, watching these clips, sharing these clips. The clip where Lawler slapped Miss Texas to the floor, 130,000 views as we sit here this morning. That is amazing.
Wow.
This many people are going back and watching. And there's a ton more. I can go down the line here. Steve Kern promo when he was so pissed off a few weeks back in his Gator shirt, nearly 25,000 views. So for all the people who think, there's no interest in old USWA wrestling, all anybody cares about is the 80s. These clips are getting some killer
Who would
views.
say something like that? Who would
I
say?
don't know, man. They'd have to be a real dipshit.
It would, man.
What
What a dipshit. Who would say that? Who's going to watch that shit? So
I'm sure they're choking on those words right now, whoever those
I
people are,
am. I'm eating crow big time on that.
But let's hear what took place, not only at the Pipkin building, but I'm assuming, aren't we down to the wire here as far as...
This is it, buddy. This is it,
that's what I
guys.
thought.
Yeah, we're not going to be talking about Dallas anymore after this show. Jarrett's final show was on 6/21, drawing 470 fans. I like to go through who was there, but I'm also going to tell what happened. Robert Fuller, Danny Davis, Chris Candido. No, Robert Fuller wasn't on TV, but Chris Candido, Danny Davis, Eric Embry, Tojo. I think we had Miss Texas, Tony Anthony, Tom Pritchard. They were all at the Dallas, the last Dallas show. We had the Master Blaster was there in a Texas death match against Robert Fuller, and that was Sweet Daddy Falcone. Jarrett beat Eric Embry. This is fun. Jeff beat Eric Embry by DQ in a chain match when Tagar and Tojo interfered. After the match, Embry tried to hit Jarrett with a chain, and he ducked, and Embry hit Tagar. Tojo started yelling at Embry for a few moments until Embry pushed Tojo, and Tagar attacked Embry. Embry ended up apologizing to the fans of Dallas for everything he's done.
Wow.
Yeah, when Embry did this, everyone was of the opinion that this was the final night. And immediately after, I love this, immediately after Embry turned face, he quickly went to the gimmicks table and become posing with the fans for paid Polaroids.
One last time.
One last time.
Buddy.
So he actually, Dave, maybe he picked up the last $20 or $30 there in Dallas that he could get. But what's funny is that picture of Tojo with him that I thought he had already turned that night in Dallas, and I guess no one was going to see that TV anyway. Some fun stuff going on in Memphis before the show in Memphis. Eddie Gilbert quit the promotion before Monday night show in Memphis. And this probably came directly from Eddie because he loved to talk to the kayfabe sheets. Eddie quit the promotion before Monday night show in Memphis because he felt Eric Embry was burying him and he didn't want to work a program with Dundee since they never got along. I'd like to hear more about that. Embry booked him with Dundee. So Dundee already knew the finish of that one match. So it was going to be Dundee and Gilbert. Gilbert has already sent fillers out to WCW, but he has to overcome some hurdles because there's some bad feelings regarding the way he left. So Eddie's out. So do you remember any heat that him and Dundee had from the book? I can't remember anything.
Nothing
But,
specific.
yeah.
I mean, Doug has just always said when we were
You didn't
doing
have
the
good
book, and
matches with it.
even on the episodes where we talked about it, that just for whatever reason, Eddie and Bill had no chemistry. He and Bill had no chemistry, and he said the matches were never good. And he didn't, they didn't blame that on Dundee, and didn't really take, exception to that. Just for whatever reason, it just did not work when they wrestled each other.
Yeah, Doug pretty much said, look, sometimes you got guys that you have chemistry with, and sometimes you got guys that you don't. You just don't have a good match with them. And that was what he said about Dundee. So Eddie's gone, and Doug worked Monday night. He beat Chris Candido. Rob Van Dam beat Tex. Danny Davis beat Van Dong to keep the lightweight title. Bill Dundee pinned Carl Styles. Bill Dundee also beat Tagar when Eddie no show. Yeah, and it is the third week in a row. Yeah. But he's climbing up the charts there, and he's the number one contender. Southern champ Embry, Dirty White Boy, Dirty White Girl beat Tom Pritchard, Miss Texas. I know this is going to surprise y'all, but Jeff Jarrett and Robert Fuller retained the USWA World Tag Team titles, beating Judge, Dredd, and Samu. And in the main event, saw Jerry Lawler and Eric Embry go to a double countout, which is leading to next Monday night. And I won't spoil it, but it is leading to next Monday night's match. Good stuff. I wonder about Eddie. There's some stuff on Cassette Wrestling News coming out about that too. So y'all keep if you're on our Patreon, we're putting out an episode every week till we run out of them. Of Cassette Wrestling News, but Eddie was a friend of Jeff Osborne's also, so you'll hear some stuff about Eddie leaving and all that stuff on there. Eddie talks to Jeff a couple times,
and we'll make sure once that drops on YouTube that we will share that link on the USWA Facebook page,
right,
to kind of flag it as, hey, here's that interview with Eddie, and of course, not long after this, Eddie will be booking Global for a period of time. So
it's happening. Global's happening, and everybody knows it at this point. You buy your ticket on Friday, you get your in for free on Saturday. And so it's all starting up now, and it's going to happen. So we'll start seeing it on ESPN in July, which is only a few weeks in this timeline. And so, it was back and forth whether it was going to happen or not, but it's happening. We all know that now, but yeah.
I remember it was interesting when Global debuted, and I started watching those in the afternoon on ESPN, and with those tournament matches they were showing, it felt like they just had an endless roster of people because there were so many people brought in for those tournaments that didn't necessarily show their face again after that. But as they were showing these clips and, this match and that match, like, holy cow, everybody works for this place. And, we'll talk about that at different times here on this show, and perhaps some in the Patreon as Global starts to unfold, because the Global story in general is just a very interesting time in wrestling, and I don't know, there's a lot to talk about there. But anyway, speaking of a lot to talk about, somewhere else there's a lot to talk about. P3 Radio this past week. We're going to throw BT a curve. We're going to start with P3 Radio and then go to STS.
Oh, man, you got me confused there. Hold on now. Let me get my...
Actually, I just clicked the wrong thing, but we can do it the other way around if you like.
All right, let's do it the other way around. I'm not ready.
All right, here we go.
I'm not ready, man. I'm not ready.
What's going on this week on stspod.com?
Every day we do the Shiznit Minute to talk about the current wrestling scene. I want to thank everybody. We're doing record numbers. Maybe if we continue on YouTube, we'll break the record again. Episode 1017 this past week was Rolling Into Memphis 255 Grind City Rumble. And Gene says we're going to talk about that on Patreon. So join us for that. And coming up is, we already recorded Observing the Observer. We're looking at Wrestle Kingdom from this past week. Really good show. Put together a real quick show, only about only about 5 hours, and they were at the Tokyo Dome, sold out, close to 50,000 people for Tanahashi's retirement match. Really good match. CWA show from this past Saturday, I want to put over. We reviewed the CWA 11887 show. If you like this show, you'll like that. Josh is going to join us sometimes, but it's me and Gene doing it every other week. And coming Saturday, make sure I got this right, but this coming Saturday, Kyle Fletcher against Will Ospreay. We actually watch a new match on our ride along. So that it's fun to listen to me and Gene talk about current wrestling and what we would do or not do. Two talented guys, but not sure they'll live doing that style that they're doing. So
yeah, if they can stay out of a wheelchair before they're 40, they'll be doing well.
We talk about them going to WWE, whether we could see them being stars. It's a fun show. It really is.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's a lot different. I mean, we're usually watching old Memphis stuff or, something in that time frame anyway. So it was a nice departure for something different.
All right, we got P3 Radio. Let me tell you, it's 4 out of 5 hoots again. It's the podcast that shows videos but never gives you the links. And we got the Shiznit Minute, P3 Radio Shiznit Minute, if I can talk. Episode 440. Congratulations. That's a good milestone. Josh didn't want to come over. That's the name of it. Josh's own location at his house. They talked about the Bob and Tob show. Ben stores, good or bad. That was so funny to me. Richard had returned some blankets that were had personal people's faces on them. Richard went to dumpster diving for used dildos. He talked about homeless people having sex. He brought a dildo to the Dirty Santa family party. He shaved Doc's face. And Richard also talked about putting his dick in a puppet monkey. I'm sorry, that's what he said. He shaved his dog completely, if you know what I mean. Richard didn't know about other music except country music until he was 23 years old. That's it. P3 Radio.
Was Josh not allowed to talk since he didn't come over?
No, he talked.
Richard notes there.
Well, I got Josh. Everything Josh says is perfect. I don't. I just want to slam Richard, not Josh.
That's fair.
He got Richard. Richard said the Bob and Tob show, and Josh said, "What? The Tob show? Who's Tob?"
Bob and Tob.
I was like, "Oh."
You see the ring, you got to grab it.
Yes, and I love the story about those Ben stores where it's hilarious because my wife sits on the couch and she has the cat there and the dog's with her. I made a picture and I sent it off to get her a blanket. It's this big, thick blanket with her sitting on the couch, but he said he found some of those at those Ben stores where there was anniversary pictures or something of somebody. It was really funny because
he found multiple, and his idea is we're going to buy them and give them to the homeless.
Yeah,
that way they can be edgy and awkward as well.
Yeah, like they have family.
That was really funny. I never thought about anything like that, but I guess you can return those, right?
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to hear this week's P3 Radio, you'll have to go look it up on a podcast platform because it got kicked off of YouTube because they played an AC/DC song, and boy, is the copyright things not like AC/DC songs. You will get straight up kicked off. So that one's not on YouTube this week, unfortunately, folks, or at least not on my channel. So look it up. It's a good one. You'll just have to listen to it at a different spot this week. Also, make sure you check out uswapodcast.com. Check out all the links related to this show, our Facebook page, our store, all that good stuff available there at uswapodcast.com. Check out DougGilbertPodcast.com for Dangerous Conversations with Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich. It's back going full swing. By the time you hear this, it's probably too late. We'll probably have already recorded it, but this week there's going to be a Q&A episode where we're going to be answering questions sent in by listeners, but you can still send those in to DougGilbertPodcast@outlook.com for a future episode. We will get that on there and get Doug and Tommy to answer your questions. Also at DougGilbertPodcast.com, you can find all the other related social media links to their show, as well as a store to where you can get Doug Gilbert shirts, Tommy Rich shirts, Memphis Mafia, all that available right there. Also, check out our YouTube, youtube.com/@Retro Wrestling Archive. Almost, there's like 4,500 or more videos there. We're creeping up on 12,000 subscribers. All kinds of different video wrestling content there. Podcasts, old matches, full episodes. It's all there on the YouTube channel. You can check out Patreon. You can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/Retro Wrestling Archive. You can check out BT's at patreon.com/Shooting the Shiznit. You can check out either one you want, or neither one's expensive. Try them both. Be a regular subscriber to both. We sure would appreciate it. And speaking of subscribing, it's absolutely free to subscribe to substack.com/Retro Wrestling Archive. This week's article was about the old 5-star wrestling from back in 1990. It was a attempt to kind of bring something back in the old Mid-South territory.
I do not remember that, Gene. I read your article yesterday, and it was brand new to me. I don't remember JYD, being at another promotion and everything. Good stuff. Good history stuff right there.
Yeah, man, you can sample some of those matches over on the YouTube channel. I remember it started coming on about a year after they ended Continental. They're on WCBI Channel 4. All of a sudden, this new wrestling show started coming on, 5-Star Wrestling, and I would watch it each and every week, but I didn't really know much about it until more recent years. So I finally got to study up on it, learn a little about it, and I thought, well, maybe other people will find it interesting. I don't know, so I put it out there. But I've been trying to get at least one article out a week, so check it out and see what you think. Also, tinyurl.com/WolfieDbook. You can go and get a paperback copy or a digital copy of Wolfie D's book right there at that address. And also at DougGilbertPodcast.com, you can find a link to get the new release version of Eddie Gilbert's book that me and Doug wrote. And I think we have managed to plug everything. Guys, did I miss anything?
That's it.
Covered, smothered, and chunked.
Perfect. Anything you guys want to mention before we go besides BT's usual sign-off? Because he got.
Hold on now. I mentioned something, and I want to go ahead and tell everybody. I mentioned Spaghetti Warehouse earlier, and I just want everybody to know the location of Spaghetti. I had it, and I done lost it. Lost the location, but I'll have it next week.
It's over in Memphis somewhere.
It's over. I have the address, and I'll let y'all know how to get there next week.
I just picture this big, huge building where spaghetti's being prepared on like a conveyor belt somehow, but maybe
they had the best lasagna. They have the best lasagna. I'm not saying it's closed.
So that's still a thing. Spaghetti Warehouse is still a thing?
It's not.
It's not a thing.
No.
BT's just trying to buy time here. We're gonna have
love my mama.
There you go. See you next week for more Retro Wrestling Review USWA podcast, when it's going to be episode 87 next week. Can you believe we've been doing this for 87 weeks? Holy cow. Thanks for joining us each and every week. And if you hadn't, well, catch up on the backlog of it. 93 was fun. I think you'll enjoy it. Go check it out. There was a lot of Harlem Nights on there. I liked them. Josh and Richard didn't. See you.